I'm saying?
Welcome to QTC. This is Questions, Thoughts, Concerns with your guy, Coach Mo. I'm just here to talk to you about the issues, concerns, things going on currently in the industry, currently in the world. I'm touching on a couple of different things, man. And, I just want to get some feedback from people. I want to talk about it. I want to explore any thoughts, questions, and concerns you may have about the situation. But mostly you're going to hear my thoughts, questions, and concerns. So I just want to welcome you to the show. 10-year plus college basketball coach, 13 years total coaching, did high school, played Division I, one of the all-time leading scorers in Longwood University history. Shout out to LU. Went overseas, played 3 years, Portugal, Macedonia, and Holland. My favorite place was Holland, but we're not here to talk about me today. We're here to talk about the issues and things that are going on in sports. This is the second episode, and I'm trying to get my legs going, warmed up, and ready, to do this more often. And if there's good feedback, if I get some good reviews and comments and likes and bells and things on my YouTube, my Instagram, my Twitter, I'm more than happy to record more. It gets time consuming, but with the editing, mostly it ain't even the recording, it's the editing. But neither here nor there. M45 Coach at Instagram. That would be THECOACH.MOSUMTER 45 on YouTube. That would be M45 Coach on Twitter. And also on Instagram, my predominantly coaching page. The other page is a little more personal, but my coaching page is THECOACH_MOSUMTER on Instagram. So go check it out. There's plenty of love there, plenty of fun. And I'm gonna be dropping some gems here, there, just to get you going with your career, with your life, whatever the case may be. But with no further ado, episode 2 of QTC. Let's get it. First question. Now, this has been a reoccurring theme throughout sports over the years with commentators, with newspaper people, with athletes, coaches, and all of the above. Who's qualified to have an opinion? Now, I would say personally, whoever pays attention and does their homework to the sport or the atmosphere. But everybody don't feel that way. So my thing about it is when you get on that stage, then you're open to everybody's opinion. Not saying anyone is an expert and not saying that anybody is more qualified or less qualified than anybody else, because I've had coaches and coached with coaches that never played basketball beyond high school or even in high school. And they've been I've learned some of the most from those guys. But I'll tell you this, there is something in having experience. And I'm talking from an experience standpoint as a coach that played at a high level, that played pro, that was, a pretty good player in college, that having that experience definitely helps out a lot. And so, yes, it's not a end all be all, but to try to describe how somebody should be thinking with the 10 seconds on the clock and the ball is coming to them and the ball is in their hands and there's a defender in front of them. If you've never done that, then you can explain it. And that's not a problem, because there's a lot of other things about the game you can explain and talk about. But as a player, coming from a player standpoint and someone who's, been there and in the situation, it's a different feeling than you ever had in your life. You can't duplicate that. You can't supplement that. You can't talk about it and you can't speak to it from you observing. But I never take anything away from coaches who did not coach or did not play at a high level. But there is something that's added. Just like they can understand analytics and the math, which a lot of people can't do, and maybe a former player can't. But it's the same way with the way I've studied my craft of being on the court, handling the ball and making decisions in that high capacity situation that, you might not just be experienced at. So I don't want anybody to take it all sensitive and be like, yeah, just because you ain't played on me. Listen, some of the best coaches I've been around, trust me, have not played at a high level. But as an athlete, speaking from my perspective that did it, there is something to give to the game when you have performed at that high level. So I just want to make sure that's definitely out there. And at the same time, you gotta play the game, man. Like you gotta understand that people are going to criticize, especially people that get paid millions of dollars to do this, and there's a big industry for it. They're going to criticize. So you being sensitive, saying that he ain't never won a championship, so how does he know? Or that goes along the lines of what I'm saying. If you never played in a championship game, you don't know the feeling and the thought and the preparation that goes into it. But that doesn't mean I didn't see you score 2 points. Now, if you score 2 points and you average 25, and I say you suck last night, then That ain't got nothing to do with me playing at high level. I saw you play. You sucked. And there comes a point where there's an interchange, and players have to be more cognizant of what brings in the money too. So the commercials, the advertising, they bring in the money. So if they're not talking about you, then the money doesn't come in. You don't make as much money, and at the end of the day, everybody loses. So if you don't want to be criticized, then you probably shouldn't play, because it's coming. Like, whether you want to or not, whether you snap back or clap back or whatever you call it, it's coming. So once you step into this realm, even as a musical artist, same thing. Once you step into this realm, you gotta deal with that, fam. Like, that's just part of the game. And just like everybody else, like coaches, we got to deal with criticism too. Immediately in the game, with somebody yelling behind your head, telling you to put somebody in the game. And I'm talking from personal experience. On the college level, it's not high school, not AAU, but it's still parents that's yelling from the stands. I'm trying to tell a college coach what to do, and they've never coached or played. So to each his own. Salute to everybody. Love is love, and we keep it at that. On that, in a similar vein to that, our coach is too sensitive. So I'm playing devil's advocate in a way, but our coach is too sensitive. And I say that because of the fact that coaches recently in the news, coaches have been like snapping at each other. Where this happened in NFL season, it happens during the NBA season. It happens too often for me. I guess I live by the theory, like, if you don't want me to do something, then don't let me do it. So if I'm beating you by 50 and I score another touchdown, that sounds like a personal problem for you. So you're telling me to back off and not do what I do best, so you can feel better? That ain't what I'm cut from. And if you cut from that, then even dudes getting dunks at the end of games and guys throwing the ball, wanting to fight, like thinking they tough because they fought for their team or they defended their team. Dog, listen, you just lost by 50. You trying to fight at the end or throwing the ball to somebody for dunking at the end is the least of your worries. So yeah, I don't find any bravado in that. I wouldn't tell the player, yeah, don't let them shoot the layup because they already up 50. Don't let them shoot another layup to get up 52. Like, at the end of the day, man, they beat you. They smacked you. You take that L, come back better the next time, or go home and take your ball with you. So, coaches, stop being so sensitive. If you don't want that to happen, if you don't want somebody to do something in the game to you, then you go do your homework, you sit in the lab, and you figure it out how to not allow people to do that to you and your team. Because you look foolish getting mad in the handshake line that somebody scored a 50-second point on you and you're down 50. You look foolish. And you can call it whatever you want to call it, sportsmanship. That's cool. That's great. But you think sportsmanship is getting mad because somebody scored another bucket or another touchdown or field goal on you when you were already down 25-50? And you get mad? Is that sportsmanship? Is that how you respond, with more sportsmanship or less sportsmanship? But I digress. But I want to get on to more important topics than, coaches' feelings and things of that nature. I definitely want to get on to this beautiful thing that just happened. I was out at the Final Four. It's a beautiful thing. I'm a women's college basketball coach, so I'm very much invested and have been for years now. And I love the pub that the women are getting now with their display. Them being on the front stage, getting all those views and all the media money and things of that nature. I'm very, very happy and very, very pleased with the new wave of female college players that are reaping the benefits of it financially, popularity wise. I've always been a fan. My sister played college basketball. I've dated college basketball females in the past, so it's always been a part of my journey. Women's college basketball. So I just want to make sure that, I want, and now I coach college basketball, females. So coming from the men's side after 8 years and coming to the women's side, I'm very happy with where the current state of the game is. And I wanted to continue to grow. So I'm putting on clinics. My goal is to put on clinics so young women can come in and get the same high level expertise as the men are. And I feel like I'm a high level expertise with my experience in coaching, playing, and being a student. So, watch out for that camp. There is going to be a camp in Northern Virginia at John Paul High School. We're still ironing out the dates. I want some of the best players out there to come and get this professional training that this is the training that I did. This is how I prepare. This is how I prepare our student athletes. I've coached over 20 plus professionals, all conference players, all Americans. So please come out and help me help take this females game to the next level with the little piece that I can contribute. And but let's ultimately get to it. The South Carolina Gamecocks went undefeated. They went undefeated. Now, not a lot of teams have done that. Not a lot of teams at all have been undefeated and won a national championship. And I don't have the stats in front of me, but I know the last team to do it was UConn. And that was a huge, super huge, monumental big deal in the women's basketball game and basketball alike on both sides, because at the end of the day, going undefeated and finishing the job, that's hard. And if you think back to the season, a lot of them, the USC team from this year went on to almost lose to Tennessee. If Cardozo doesn't hit that three, they lose to Tennessee, undefeated season down the drain, conference championship down the drain. Don Staley loses hundreds of thousands of dollars from not winning the conference championship. So, it's a feat. It's something to be celebrated. And I personally, if you're asking me, I don't know they got what they deserved as far as accolades wise, as far as love and support. I don't think they got what they deserved in that, and I think that they should be praised more. So I'll take this time to praise them a little more because they deserve it. They earned it. They were a spectacular team. They had multiple players go to the NBA. They had one of the best freshmen in the country. They beat everybody. They beat LSU. They beat Iowa, obviously, in the championship. I want to say they beat UConn earlier in the year. I mean, it's nothing more to be said about that team and what Don Staley's doing with those young ladies and just the whole movement. They're just as big a part of movement as anything else, especially, some of the other players with the freshmen being young. Yeah, that SC team, that SC team is was really good. Those young ladies definitely showed a lot of fight, a lot of adversity coming off that loss last year. They could have went 3 back-to-back, people feel like, but that loss to Iowa to get to play them in the championship and redeem themselves in that kind of way, I mean, they write books about stuff like that. But on the flip side, on the absolute flip side, they've had a lot of pushback on Catlin Clark getting all the attention. Now, I believe that argument is twofold. I believe that there are a lot of different implications on what that may be as far as in comparison. I truly believe that it's both. I think Catlin Clark deserves the attention that she's getting, and I do think the attention was underwhelming for that USC team winning. I don't think they're mutually exclusive, but I do believe that SC team could have gotten more credit, but I also believe Catlin Clark is encompassing of the attention that she's getting. Now, let me explain one. SC, I mean, I never seen a SC team, undefeated team in college basketball go so under the radar or unspoken about, even that CNN article, even the memorabilia, even Dawn Staley getting, doing the world tour. And I see her moving, but, if I believe that if Catlin Clark had won, then it would be in our face every 5 minutes of every second of the day. And I ain't saying in our face in a bad way. I'm just saying that it would be on every commercial, which she is already after losing. But I mean, let's speak on it. She is the all-time leading scorer in college basketball history. I mean, I've seen an article about another young lady that had that crown, but that actually has the crown, has more points. But in the NCAA, she's the all-time leading scorer, men or women. In this time, where the game is this popular, and she beat Angel Reese and she beat USC. So she beat LSU and USC in back-to-back years, but did not win a championship. Now, I think going back-to-back championships, that's something to be spoken about too. So people ask if she can be the greatest, even though she didn't win a championship. Yeah, she took her team that definitely wasn't that good to back-to-back championships. So I'd say that, you know, she has to be considered. She has to be considered as one of the best, if not the best. And I've seen the Tamika Catchings and Shamika Holdsclaw is probably my favorite of all time. Shamika Holdsclaw. I watched her in college and pro. I believe she played for the Mystics. I think that's where I saw her at as well. But I watched her at Tennessee, and she just was one of them ones to me. And then Tarazi, you got all of them. As far I'm talking guards, mostly because just the style of play. But Tarazi, I was talking about Maya Moore, Simone Augusta, Kelsey Plum. I'm just naming names off the top of my head that I think Tarazi won 3 out of 4 or 4 out of 4, somewhere around there. So, and she's up there in points. So, but she also had a better supporting cast. She also went to UConn. So there's some factors that play into it that maybe make you think otherwise. But even in the preseason, she just came out and had 22 in the preseason, doing exactly what she did in college. So, but Sue Bird too. And I got to give some love to the bigs, Asia Wilson, Lisa Leslie, Rebecca Lobo. Even though she didn't have the best pro career, she still was a legend in the game. I met a couple of the players from back in the day that, you know, now that I'm on the women's side, I run across them, man, and they're all great. They're still, you know, doing great things in the community. So I want that to definitely be recognized. But I don't know what the answer is. Actually, I do know what the answer is. She deserves all that credit, and SC deserves more credit. South Carolina, I mean. They deserve more credit. They deserve more praise, more fanfare. And Caitlin Clark deserves every bit that she's getting. I just heard she had impact. And I want to talk about her impact a little bit the other day, where they just decided, she said something about private planes and the travel for WNBA. And just like that, they brought $50 million out of nowhere. And I say nowhere, it was somewhere, but they came up with it. And I'm pretty sure it's sponsors, but they came up with $50 million to get not even say young ladies, but to get the ladies to travel private now across the league. Now that's a big deal. That's a big deal. I mean, style of play, level of play, rest, recovery. Yeah, it has so many implications that I'm surprised that this late to the party. I mean, I travel a lot, and I've never seen a WNBA team walking through the airport, but I'm sure that it's happened, and it's got to be annoying. I know even when we walking through the airport as a team or walking through a restaurant, everybody stops what they're doing to, you know, come and ask questions, where we from, where we going, who we playing, look at us like we in the fishbowl. I'm used to it at this point. I've been doing it for 20 years now plus, but that's impressive. And that's something that I think should definitely be spoke about as far as her impact and using it for good. Now, I've heard the flip side of people saying that why did it take Caitlin Clark to say it? Yeah, I think this. I think that what a lot of the females have asked for, they're getting with Caitlin Clark being in the mix. I think she's enhancing the recognition because the star she is and who she is and what she brings to the table. I'm not going to speak on the racial part about it because I think that does have some implications on it. But I think that everybody needs to appreciate any enhancement to the game by anybody, because I think they are a unit, all of the female ballers in one, but I do think they have their separate legs. But I do think the young lady, I can call them young ladies, I do think these ladies need to corral on any cause that can push the gambit or push the table or push the needle to them getting to a better place in the game, in the industry, in the atmosphere, as recognition and ticket sales and sponsorships. I think any step forward is a good step forward for the game and the women. So, but yeah, that's my thoughts on that. Just to change gears a bit, we're gonna talk a little bit about the transfer portal, which I know everybody loves. And I'm not gonna stay too long on this because I want to definitely get to my Dear Coach segment. So stick around and stay alert for that. But the question is, excuse me, is the transfer portal good or is it bad? I'm sure everybody has their different opinions about it, and there's so many different angles to approach. And I definitely don't have enough time in the day to speak on its in its entirety. But the transfer portal is interesting. I do like it because I do think the athletes should have the same capacity to transfer as any other coach does. Assistant coach, head coach can leave at any moment. So I do think there's freedom in that. And I think the student athletes should have that freedom. The only different issue is with that is that the student athletes typically make decisions with unclear-minded decisions. Let me say that. There are things that are important that they give up making an impulsive decision. And when you're young, we all know you're a little more impulsive. You don't think of things all the way through. You're thinking about outside things, people, girlfriend, facilities, shoe deals versus what's the right fit and situation for you. And me personally, I'm big on fit. I tell every recruit that comes to our school, hey, I'm not going to try to trick you into coming here. I'm not going to try to boost or brag or lie to you about coming here. But I want you to understand that it's about you. And I think you should make the right decision for you, not for me, not because I said something that was so amazing that made you want to come here. I want you to come here because you want to come here and be the best in this program. Because at the end of the day, if you decide to come here and if we decide to offer you and accept you, there's no point of us doing that on false pretense. I tell recruits that to their face and their family too. There's no point of you coming here off false pretense because somebody convinced you to come here. Because what's going to happen is you're going to be in the same position next year trying to find a school, and we're going to be in the same position next year trying to find a player. And I don't think either one of us wants to do that. This process is too strenuous. It's too stressful on everybody involved to have to do it 2 and 3 times. I don't know how these high school kids do it. I don't know how the college kids do it. But we ultimately want to make this fit the one best fit. That's it. And then once we go from there, we're going to win from there because you're going to be a quality person. You're going to learn. You're going to observe. You're going to get better. And we're going to win games because of it. But if you're not happy here or you came here for some other reason other than this is what you as an individual want to do, then we're going to end up in a bad place. That's just the bottom line. We're going to end up in a bad place, and that's okay. That's okay that you want to leave, and it's okay that, we've got to find somebody else. It's part of the game. But if you make this best decision the first time, it's going to be hard to imagine that we still have to go through something else, some other process of finding a new player that we really shouldn't have to go through, And so, yes, I think the transfer portal is good. And I'm going to have a whole segment on transfer portal one of these days because I think it's interesting to understand the dynamic of it, especially for high school kids, transfers from D1, D2, transferring up, transferring down, D3 transfers. So I really want to get into all of that because I think there's a lot of miscommunication and false knowledge about it. And I've dealt with it at all 3 levels, D1, D2, D3. And I just want to make sure that people are informed. And that's going to always be my ultimate goal is information and exposure so that you can go and make the right decision. That's just Coach Mo. That's how I move. That's how I flow. That wasn't meant to rhyme, but I'll take it. But transfer portal, you have to get in by May 15th. And they've shortened it from 60 days to 45 this year. So you have to be in by May 15th, but it goes to, I'm sorry, not May. I apologize. It's over on May 1st. April 15th is the day you can enter. And June 1st, I'm sorry, June 1st. June 1st is when you have to, is your window of opportunity to get your one-time transfer. Well, I guess not waived no more, but that's the window of one-time transfer without having to sit out. So if you get in there in that gap, you can transfer. And I'll talk more detail in that if you ask in the comments or you DM me or hit me up and ask me more about that. And if I don't know it, I know where to find it and research it in a timely fashion. So, and part of, my consulting that I do with families now and which I'll possibly do in the future is you're going to all that information like that, you'll know. Because I'll keep you up to date on it, all the FAFSA, all the things that go into transfer portal, going to getting into school, going to making your decision on what school to go to so you're not transferring again, your level, game breakdown, all those things is something that, I definitely want to bring to the table for families and people around me. And I mean, I do it for people around me already. I got 3 nephews and going in college, graduated from college, going to college, niece that's playing now. And so I'm information, I'm exposure, I'm anything you may need to, help your experience be best. And we'll figure it out from there. All right, all right, all right, all right, all right. My favorite segment of the show. Boom, dear Coach Mo. Dear Coach Mo. Love this segment. Love this segment. Love this segment. Why I love this segment is because at the end, I created the Dear Coach segment from a parent, just to give anonymous information. And these are real stories typically, and not gonna say typically, they are all real stories when I go into Dear Coach segment. And it's just to inform you that somebody else is going through it and how they went through it, and maybe to give you a little insight about your process and how you want to go about approaching it. And if there's anything that I can do to help you clarify some things, please, in the comments, in my messages, please give me a call. I mean, not a call. No, I ain't getting my number now. Text me. Don't text me. DM. Leave a comment. Email me. My email is easy to find. Coach Mo Sumter at Gmail. You can definitely email me and call or contact me there. If you have any questions, thoughts, concerns, that's why it's called QTC. Now I'm answering your thoughts and concerns. So, dear Coach, how do I get overseas? And how was it playing over there? This is what my players often ask me. This is what young players ask me on the men's and women's side. And I like to be as transparent as possible because I do believe that the experience was amazing. So I'll start there with how was it playing over there? It was an amazing experience. Amazing, amazing, amazing. I went to Holland my first year, then off to Portugal. I was on the island, which was great. And Holland was near, I wasn't on a island in Holland. I was an island in Portugal. But in Holland, I was near Belgium and Brussels and Antwerp, Rotterdam, France was there, Germany, all those kind of places were kind of in their area. So that's Western Europe, which is really good to go, and if anybody ever had any question about that, please, like I say, leave a comment below, slide in the DMs and, just ask me anything that I can help you with. But it was an amazing experience, very Americanized. My town was cool. Bergen up Zoom is what they call it. We had a pretty good run, went to the playoffs, semifinals, lost to Amsterdam, who was, the capital, it's not the capital city, not thinking about it, but lost to Amsterdam and in the semifinals. So that was that experience. Portugal was great on the island, great people in Portugal, great vibes, beautiful scenery, great organization. Angra Basket, they're still kicking. One of my players that I coached at Virginia State actually just went to the same exact island. Interesting how the world comes back around. We was able to share some stories, and that kid is the hardest working kid I ever been around. Daniel Rahama, shout out to the youngin. That's my guy. Talked to him today. He's doing great. And Macedonia, which is Eastern Europe. It's a little different out there. I flew into Greece and drove up the coast, and it's a little different. It's Eastern Europe. They've been through a few wars and things like that. So the town is different, a little more poverty, a little difference in classes financially. So it was an amazing experience. Learned a lot, spent a lot of time out there. What I would say is, though, while you're out there with that little bit of minimal time, take in something, a craft, a art, a networking situation. I got certified as a personal trainer while I was out there. So when I came home, I was able to do that. When my career was over, I was able to take that right on to the next career, and it helped me in my next chapter in life with coaching. So the ultimate question, how do I get overseas? All right, I'll start here. You have to be a really good player. Okay. Did that surprise anybody? Because I feel like it did. Because if you average 3 or 4 points at a Division II school, let's be realistic, buddy. Like, most of us watch enough basketball to know who's who. And the 3-point a game scoring people usually don't go up in progress. You celebrate your points until it's time for somebody else to either tell you about them or not. But we know realistically that's not going to cut it. Not at Division II. Now, if you go to Duke and you average 2 or 3 points a game, then that's different. Mid-major, D1, you might can get some looks because you got good training, good programs, so you still can be above the talent pool. If I'm looking as an agent, low Division I, still Division I, still depending on, where you at, 2-point range, and maybe you might have to go to some trials, some showcases, some camps. You get around 10 points, I averaged 17 as a senior, so I was afforded with the opportunity to have people contacting me for the opportunity, and forever grateful for that. I ended up signing with Courtside, which was the biggest agency in Europe at the time. I'm not sure what the temperature is now, but Courtside is one of the biggest agencies, and I was lucky enough to have that opportunity to sign with Courtside, and they found me a job pretty quickly in a nice level league. And that was my story. But I averaged 17 in Division I and played against some of the highest. I played against number 1 team in the country, number 5, 20, 25, and UVA, and either put up numbers or had a performance that was worthy. Played against GW. I had 19 in the first half when they were ranked in the country. So, those of that VCU team that was really good over those years, gave them a couple buckets. That was some of my favorite games. Those dudes were tough, and it meant something to play against that team and have that kind of performance. So what I'm saying all that to say, be realistic with your resume. If you want to go overseas, be realistic. Be realistic coming in, be realistic with your work ethic, be realistic with your stats, with your status, with your level. Look at it, really. Look at apples to apples. And I know that's hard to say or hard to do in the moment when you're emotional and you want something so bad, but you got to look at it, y'all. And if you're not at the top of your conference, your team, your region, All-American, something, then it's not impossible. Like, there's camps, but to believe that the agents are going to blow up your line or somebody's coming to find you, that's probably not going to happen. And I'm just being honest with you, just from experience and from observation. Not only that, but there are ways. One year when I didn't get the job that I wanted, or they didn't get the job in time I wanted, I went on Eurobasket.com, which you can go to anytime. Eurobasket.com is where it's like the ESPN of European basketball. They have every team, every league, most of the rosters. Just depends on the league and country how they keep up with it. But they have all that. They have your profile, resume. But what they have is agents. They have emails of agents. I went in there and sent the email to every single agent in Europe. Listen to me. I sent the email to every single agent in Europe. It's no exaggeration. So if you want it that bad and they're not calling you, then that's your way to find them. They're available. It's the internet. It's the information superhighway. So if it's something you want bad enough, then it's there available for you to go find and do it. But how do you get overseas? You perform. You're one of the best in your conference. You're one of the best on your team, one of the 2 best on your team, I would say. You win, especially when and I'm talking for people that come from lower levels right now, D3, D2. You have to win. You have to perform. You have to be all conference. You have to show that you're above your level. You have to display that with numbers, with accolades. That's number 1. Number 2 is agent. Find an agent, wherever that is. Contact agents, email, call, find your friend that's playing overseas, somebody to play overseas, get in contact with their agent. You can also email the team directly. Usually their email is on their team website on Eurobasket. It's out there to some capacity, so that's on you to go find that. Camps, showcases. I know Eurobasket has a couple. Has one in Vegas, one in Atlanta. There are other various ones, and some of them you have to pay for, and some of them you don't. And some of them you risk paying for and no agents or coaches being there. That's a part of the risk. That's part of the investment. It's an investment. You don't always get return on investment. So that's up to you to figure out. That's up to you to choose your route. But performance is the number 1 answer. When you don't perform, then you got to go some other way about going about it. So that's totally up to you. Like I say, if you have any questions, go in the comments, slide in my DMs, ask a question. I'm always going to be available. This is what I do. It's my passion to help other people go through the things that, smoother than I did. And once again, Hove did that. So hopefully you won't have to go through that. Is my favorite coaching quote. So any information you ever need, please, please, please reach out. Feel free. Tap in with me on Instagram, M45Coach, or THECOACH_MOSUMTER. THECOACH_MOSUMTER, or also on Twitter, M45Coach as well. You can find me in any of those places. Email Coach Mo at CoachMoSumter@gmail.com. You can also find me there as well. But that's what I got for you on my Dear Coach today, man. It's like I said, it's my favorite segment. It's all out of love. It's always out of help. So if I ever misspeak or say anything wrong, my bad. If you find out I said some misinformation, please correct me or DM me. Like I say, comment and let me know where I may have missed something, because I'm not magnum cum laude of coaching. I'm a coach that has a lot of experience and has a lot of observation, and I'm trying to pass that on to the next generation of young people, of coaches, of whoever that may be listening. But this is what I do. I'm passionate about, and I'll continue to contribute that part to the game as best as I can. All right. So listen, it's been great. This is episode 2 of season 1. Oh, I got episode 1, season 2. This is episode 2, season 1 of QTC. Questions, thoughts, concerns. This is my subjective perspective. And I want you all to understand that I'm here to help in any way. Any information you have for me or want to share with me, please feel free to reach out. My many ways, not my many ways, but my couple of ways of getting in contact is M45Coach on Instagram and Twitter. And that will be the coach. And I'm typing it in the screen for you so you have it. The coach MOSUMTER. Also at Instagram. Boom. There you go. M45Coach on Twitter and Instagram. The coach _MOSUMTER on Instagram as well. You can come find me there. More coaching things on that site. M45 is my personal page, so you can come check that out. And on YouTube, it'll be available as well at the Coach MOSUMTER on YouTube. You can come find it, channel 45, and I'll have everything that you may need to make your experience as best as possible. So I'm out. Love is love. Always Kim. Please keep it moving and always be your best. Remember, be cool how you be cool, and be greater than. Love is love.
I disappear once a year like Easter eggs. Trust.